Hey, Trigger Happy fam. Hey, Danny. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am extra sleepy, but I am here, and all that matters is that I have shown up. Okay.
Can we just talk about this fresh face that you're rocking and how flawless your skin is? Hey, sis.
Because I drink my water and mind my business. I feel like everyone should try it. It's a game changer. It changes the game. But no, listen, y'all. So I have adored truly one of our favorite creators. She is a CEO. She is an artist. I love women who live boldly, who live out loud, who make bold decisions on who and what they will be, and who we have with us today. I'm so excited about. She probably does not remember, but when I wrote my second book, my girlfriend Giannis got one of her, I believe it was, because I love fashion, y'all, but I don't be knowing the names. It was like a kimono. How I pronounce that?
A kimono.
Danny be having to help me because she knows the words and phrases. I just put on the clothes. She knows the words to the clothes. She had designed it, and I still have the image to this day. I felt so regal, so royal, so rich. And we have Melissa here with us today from ABL. Listen, I cannot wait. You ready, Danny?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Listen, we was already having a whole dope conversation. Literally felt like past long friends. She don't know it yet for real, but we gonna be friends. So I hope she's prepared. But we are going to bring her now onto the show. I cannot wait to get into this convo with her. Hey
girlfriend. Hey, Melissa. Hey girl. Hey.
How are you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. It's a good week to just create. I always think like the week before Black History Month is like the quiet before the storm. So I've been meeting with companies, ideating around what kind of content I want to put out and how I'm going to leave an impact for these next 28 days. So
nice.
I've been busy.
Listen, good. First of all, can we just give you your flowers just real right quick?
I love a good flower. Go on and give them. I love a good flower.
For me, I really, because people get so afraid to put their art out into the world, to try, to fail, to be successful. And for you to decide, this job is cool. And there's also some more in me that I want to discover and tap into and figure out, and to go forth like with full, I won't say reckless abandon because we're not doing reckless stuff, but with the boldness to just say, this is who I am. This is my artistry. It's beyond for me. So congratulations on all the things from your partner. Incredible. Locker and Coach. And listen, what was it? I think you designed for, I don't even remember, it was an activation. Like which one?
Which one? I know I did.
It was at the game.
Yeah, I did. Goodness, my most recent one, I did something for Now and Later. Foot Locker just shoes. I don't know if you're in the airport and you see these people with these shoes that has like an O on it. You never like, well, what brand is this? But it's called On Running. And it's like the biggest shoe company emerging right now. And so they were looking for some apparel to wear, and they walked into Foot Locker and they were drawn to my stuff. Out of everything in there, out of all the big brands, they chose mine. And so that just launched yesterday. And so nice. I just say you create good stuff, and all your opportunities that belong to you will be drawn to you. So that's really, that's the name of my game. That's my testimony. I just keep being me, and the right folks will draw to me.
Absolutely.
Well, what does that mean when you say like you just keep being me? Like, who do you say that you are?
Ooh. I want to say my authenticity comes from being honest with myself. I think a lot of people run away from their insecurities. They run away from their shortcomings. They run away from what they can and cannot do. And I'm like, look, this is all I could do. I'll work on some other stuff, but this is my artistic voice. I don't get online and say, ooh, I should switch over to this, I should do this. And so because I've locked into this voice that's mine, I don't care if it's some some other art. People be like, "Is this yours? Is this your art?" Like Rick Ross's daughter announced she was pregnant yesterday, but behind her there was some colorful artwork. My cousin said, see, that's why I don't like they be doing your art like this. I said, cuz it's not mine. Like, it's okay. Oh, I was about to say. I was like, but it's so crazy how if anybody sees black with color, they be like, oh, that's Melissa stuff. I was like, y'all, it's more people that draw stuff like this, but because I've locked in on this artistic voice, it's like it's synonymous with people. They can be across the country and be like, I think somebody has in your jacket. And sometimes it is, but it's so dope that I didn't even know what I was doing when I picked up the brush. I just said, this is my style, I'm gonna run with it. And then it became a whole language that people now identify to me. And so when I say authenticity, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I create. This is what I present to the world. And I think we talked about energy reading. People can read that. It's almost like when babies don't like people. You're like, she don't like Auntie so-and-so. I don't know why. She picked up on the energy. So people like Auntie Mel because they're like, it's something about her that I like. And that's something about her has kept me for 8 years. It kept me relevant. It's kept me paid. It's kept me on high platforms. And I just think being me, once I decided that was enough, it became an entry fee to a lot of things. Like, well, she's just her. Let's do that, you know? And people rock.
First of all, bars. Okay.
I like the entry fee. I'm taking that. If you hear me say it on another podcast, just know that I was quoting you, okay? The entry fee. I love that.
I'm gonna need us to repeat that because that was so good. So Melissa, I need you to just run that back right quick. That was so good. I just feel like the people
So when I show up as myself, that's my entry fee. When I tell you I'm Melissa Mitchell, like that comes with, you know, being because I operate in a lot of sadness, right? I think we write these stories of ourselves before we get to moments in life, and I'll be 40 in 3.5 months. And so, of course, I had this 2.5 kid dream, the white picket fence, the husband, the this. And so once I realized that story wasn't going to play out, I had to own the now, right? I had to realize that I had to stop trying to control the pen. And that's why I like using a brush over a pen, because it flows. It flows much easier, because a pen sometimes is so permanent and rigid, but with a brush, you're literally leaving it up to chance how the paint will come out on the brush. And with the pen, it's straightforward, but the brush has thousands of bristles, thousands of opportunity to create something beautiful. And so what I have done is I said, God, I'm gonna hold a brush, literally the brush. I have it tattooed on my hand to remind me that God is still the ultimate artist of my story, author of my story. And that whatever happens, it just flow for me like a brush, like paint. And stop worrying about those pages that don't, you know, I haven't had a self-fulfilling prophecy. This should have happened by now. The moment I left that page blank, God started filling that thing up. I was like, I didn't even know. Oh my gosh, you know. I have to relinquish some of that control, especially as a Taurus. I got to have this list. It's got to happen by this day. It got to look like this. And I just had to let it go. The moment I let it go, I walked into a global deal, and then I walked into another one, and then I walked into another one. So I was like, this whole letting go thing it might be a vibe.
Listen, it is a whole ass vibe. It's called the art of allowing.
Yeah.
The moment I let go to allow, like, because when you're holding on so tight because you're trying your best to make it happen, you're trying your best to make it this and make it that, it's like you introduce like stagnant kind of like stoppers. You keep introducing stoppers because you're trying so hard to control it. And even now, and I'm very, very open with, I'm dating intentionally now, and I am allowing myself to read people's energies to decide whether or not they get to share space with me. But I am allowing people to be exactly who they are and deciding, does this work for me? Does this not work for me? If it does, okay, let's explore further. Let's explore further. If it doesn't, okay, cool. Next item on the agenda. But that whole allowing and moving in intention at the same time, it allows you to literally become a co-creator with God. And there's so much that kind of opens and becomes accessible to you simply because there is a trust that happens when you simply allow. And it's kind of like God sends the universe to be in support of whatever it is that you have you have accepted that will be true for you because you've put yourself in the pouring position to just allow.
Yep.
Yep. I feel like that is maybe the ultimate definition of flowing in your femininity. Is that being and allowing, and just like when you talk about the flow, like that's when you gave that example of the pen versus the brush, I thought about like masculine and feminine. Like it just kind of brought that up for me too. And when you're talking about like allowing, like even if you're talking about sexually, like for a woman to really allow sex, like we have to like allow,
relax,
like, relax,
open up. You gotta open up.
It's the only way you get any pleasure as women in this life. It's like you just gotta relax. You gotta just let it happen. We're not really meant to like be like all the time.
The first thing they tell you
we can do it. Yeah.
The first thing they tell you, relax. You're like, I am relaxed. They're like, I am relaxed. You know. And so I got a massage yesterday. He's like, arms. I was like, he was like, no, relax. I was like, you know. But you don't realize that even in love, I think we're always coming in at like almost tense, right? So when the right person comes in, you can tell from the feeling in your neck, you know, the hairs on your neck, they begin to relax. Yeah. So that's when I know the right people are in my life, when it comes to the right deals. I get emails all the time. Like I said no to one, and right after that, I said yes to another one. And so it's about sharing. And I'm not as open when it comes to dating because I think I'm in a critical receiving pattern right now. And so I don't want anything to interfere with my frequency that I'm receiving right now. Right. And so what happens when I have that's why you all initially reached out to do the interview, I was like, no, I was in a season of no, because when you're in the middle of birthing season, you just can't say yes to everything because it will make you have an early labor, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's got chills. Okay. Yes. Okay.
It's such a critical, you know, season that I just, even if I had it, I wouldn't have had this level of expertise, this level of wisdom, even 2 months ago. Right. I think many times, like somebody's like, when are you going to write your autobiography? I said, I'm not done telling this part of my story. I'm not done getting it out. And so everybody wants to push you with their ideas. Like, oh, you should come out with eyebrow pencils. That ain't what God told me. Like, okay, I'll get to it. You know, so it's understanding that people want things for you, but you have to want what God wants for you. And so the ideas that I'm giving every day, I'm like, I hear you, but this is my assignment. Like I'm focused on X, you know, right here. And so that's really the season that I've been in. And I think that's what's kept me really grounded, is that I'm so stubborn. But stubborn works for us because once I say my destination is here, no matter how many detours, I'm still focused on that destination. And so I think that's really what success means to me, is that remaining focused on the destination, but being open to the routes. And so I wanted to be a millionaire years ago, but God is like, instead of you winning the lottery, I'm going to give you lottery winning ideas. I'm going to give you jackpot ideas. And so the money is coming, but it's the experiences, it's the relationships, it's the opportunities, it's the elevation, it's the platform. So it's like, wow, if I would have just got money, I would have went straight to the end of the destination. Like, oh, I got money now. So now
you wouldn't appreciate it, or you wouldn't even manage it properly, because you also didn't develop the skill set in that time frame to know how to manage the abundance.
That part.
So here I am now, waiting on my millions to activate. I'm learning the lessons. I just need the millions.
Okay. Hey, listen. Okay. Optimus Prime, activate now. Like, we're ready. It's so funny too, because you also want to, and that too is how I determine whether or not I will continue to share space and energy. Yeah. Because sometimes people don't know how to accept that the no isn't no forever. It's no for right now.
Not right now, yeah.
Because we didn't badger you afterwards. It was no, I love when people honor the season that they're in, because you pour from your best cup when you acknowledge, this is where I'm at. This I can't do right now. I'll hallelujah, holler back if and when that changes. But when people allow you to, hey, let them thrive in whatever space and place they're in. And when it is time, there is a thing called timing, because the one thing that I have learned, and the most important lesson that I have learned, is the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing.
Ooh, that part.
It's even worse.
It is worse.
What to do with it?
It's no, you may not have space for it. You may not be prepared for it. I have a friend that, I have friends that have been pregnant. And so they go to their checkups and they're like, could I go at 36 weeks, 37 weeks? They said, we prefer you to go during this time frame because the baby will be ready and you'll be ready. So if the baby would have came in 6 months, there were so many things that would not be ready for it, but you would have been healthy, but it just would not have been time. And so that's why I look at my level of success. And I'm like, dang, I'm about to be 40. Why God ain't give me this? Why don't, and I'm like, God, my bad. You know what? My bad. Because if I would have had a 3-year-old running around right now, I would not be able to prove, I would have figured it out, but the level of stress that I would have had to operate under would have been different. And so I've told my friends that are like, well, dating is this. I said, no, dating is what it is, but you have so much other stuff that you could be focusing on. And I've learned that I can't stress enough of focusing on the now, because I am so grateful. I could wake up and do a podcast. I could stay up to 3 a.m. sketching. I could leave in the morning and go for a run and not have to worry if everybody, the whole house ate. So it's like you find silver linings even on the short list. You can find something that say, God, I'm still grateful.
Yes.
Thing, I'm still grateful. Yes, I have life insurance. Yes, I have health insurance. Yes, every bill is paid. It's going to be a wind chill of 5, but I have a fireplace and I have a heater. So it's finding that, like, girl, it's still
the perspective. It's how you look at it.
Yeah, it really is. And I love what you just said. You can find something to be grateful for in every season. And literally that is what I have been training myself, because for me, that is as for those who are Taurus, man.
God bless us.
We are, am I the drama? Yes, sis, you are the drama.
A little bit, because we're just so used to being in control. So it's hard to let go. And that's been surrender has been my whispering word for the longest. Like, you gotta let go. That's what I heard January 22nd of last year is when I finally submitted my letter of resignation from my job. Finally, after 7 years. And so even as I celebrated my 1 year this weekend, I was like, I really, really, really bet on myself, but I bet on my gift. Because I think for so long, I was still operating out a little bit of fear, creating, right? And so my creations look different now that I don't care who buys it. I don't care where it ends up. I don't care who likes it. So you have a different level of creation, because it's almost like going to a nude beach and you're like, girl, I don't care what y'all got to say. I'm out here nude. I'm good. But before it's like, girl, I would never walk on the beach. And now you're like, oh, everybody naked? Me too. So it's a different level of surrender and just like permission to yourself. And now that I'm out here naked, I enjoy it. It's fine. And I didn't take the, because we talked about manifesting art in my best life. I didn't embrace the starving artist ideology. I didn't embrace, when you quit your job, it's going to be hard. I have not had those moments. Thank God, knock on wood. But I never saw myself as starving anything, or I never looked at myself as an artist either. I'm such a multi-hyphenate that if art didn't work out, I could just be a public speaker. And if public speaker didn't work out, I can be an author. I could write music. I can do shows. So it's because I'm so blessed with my talents, I never put all that weight on one part of my life. And I think a lot of people put so much pressure on one gift. So when it doesn't work out, they stop doing it all. It's like, no, art was a gateway, but now I'm doing fashion. Now I'm doing home decor. Now I'm doing podcasts in my living room. There's so many things that you could be doing without putting so much pressure or expectation on one area of your life.
Yeah, we just talked about that this past weekend with, kind of being okay with doing different things, especially young women. I had a young woman ask, like, what's something you would have said to your younger self? And I would have been like, do everything. And if you like it, do it again and try things and travel more and like try this thing. And if you want to do this, then do that for a year and go study abroad for 6 months. Like, do all the things. Like, we have this idea, especially as women, that like, if we're not in this box, if we're not hyper focused on this one thing forever, then we're not going to be successful. And it's like, that's not really, we are excellent multitaskers. like just biologically for a reason. And that enables us to kind of have those multi hyphenates so that we can really show up in the world. It's not that it definitely is like this rigid stance. I think that comes from the patriarchy of focus on this one thing. And if you don't do that, you're a loser, or you're a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like, you know, that ideology a lot of time cripples people into not really flourishing in their gifts, for sure.
Yeah. And then too, acknowledging the fact that, hey, I don't have to buy into certain stories. Like when people are, even now during the pandemic, like, oh, everybody getting sick. I'm not proclaiming that, because everybody not. I'm not proclaiming that. I'm not proclaiming, well, you know, they always doing this to us.
Yep.
No, I do not agree. I do not and will not take that in as it is my story.
Yeah.
There are certain things, certain weights I just don't want in my universe. Like when you live in a bubble, that's fine. We are enjoying ourselves in this good bubble. The air is clean and nice and fresh. Like you get to decide what your life will look like. And for you, like, and you call yourself a master manifesting artist. First of all, that's another bar.
Yes.
Like, how did you become that? And what does that mean for you?
Let's just break the whole term down. Master means I have conquered something, right? And so for me, I've mastered just self. And so once you master something, I think you study it, you learn it, you become an expert at the best self, right? So I think I'm mastering who I am every day. It's embracing, like we talked about before, those insecurities, those shortcomings, like, man, you know, realizing that it didn't work out. And it's like, but it can. Everything I tried to do on my own in the past couple of years didn't work out. But then 3 months into my leap, I manifest a deal. And then 3 months after that, I'm on a billboard. And I was trying to do it on my own. But once I learned to master what did and did not work out, I was on a different path. And the word manifesting, and this has been such a debate in the church world, manifesting is demonic. And that's like, y'all, manifesting to me is just faith on steroids. It's me saying, I'm going to be a millionaire by 40. I got a couple of months. Keeping that goal in front of my face every single day. It's just a laser focus of faith for me. I know some people do hocus pocus and things that I may not do, but I'll light my candle of intention that keeps me mindful. I carry me a stone that reminds me that God is with me. And so it's not putting power in the things. It's reminding me of the power that's in God. And
it's about the source.
Right. So when I say manifesting, it's a verb, manifesting. I'm actively manifesting. So mastering who I am in action, manifesting. An artist is really just a word for creator. I am a co-creator with the universe and with God, but also I'm taking nothing and turning it into something. I pick up a canvas.
I love that.
I take a canvas that's blank and I fill it with color. I use a brush that's empty and I fill it with paint. You know, I take a black marker and add details to things. So I think a creator, we all have a little bit of that in ourselves, especially as women. We take sperm, we turn it into a baby.
Hello.
I take a house that's empty and we fill it with color and love, with energy. I had a guy come by that was dropping out. He said, man, if I was your man, I'd be over here all the time. I said, well, that's why you're not my man. Because I know the energy that I bring. I know that it's valuable and that it's contagious. So people are like, I want some more of that. I said, no, this ain't like a free. This ain't, you got to pay for this subscription. This is a monthly fee for this.
Girl, you better say that.
No, literally. So you have to be very. You almost have to be like an ogre when it comes to like your end. Like, nope, I almost have to be like this hard exoskeleton, so people don't think they can just show up in your life as they please. And so, for me, my home is my sanctuary. So I'm very, very like, I don't even have kickbacks and stuff because I don't want people to bring whatever they have going on, because I create in my house. So I can't have that spill over onto my canvas. I can't have that spill over onto my clothing because my clothing is energy. So they were like, girl, you off a little bit. Like, girl, my homegirl was over here. You know what? No more kickbacks. No more birthday parties. And so I just be over here chilling, family comes and I'll have something every now and then. But when I'm in like this kind of season, I feel like at any moment I can give birth. So I'm like, is it going to be twins this time? Triplets? It's going to be quadruplets, So I get my salad. I go upstairs, turn my incense on, get my oils, get all my stuff. And so I think master manifesting artists It's something I wear with pride, but it also reminds me of my own purpose. It's almost like constantly looking in a mirror, like this is your title. Like you got to live up to this. Yeah. So when you ain't mastered your stuff, you ain't manifesting your stuff, you ain't been an artist, you are off your calling. So it's a way to remind me of who I am over and over again.
I love that.
We're talking about manifesting, and we know that right now is like a buzzword. Just in life. I was just on Instagram, but not even on Instagram, just everywhere in life. And a lot of people talk about manifestation, but then they fail to talk about the action required to make their vision a reality. So how do you feel like, especially with you kind of pivoting from one thing to another, how did you push past your comfort zone to make your dreams a reality?
So here's the thing. I think that when you're manifesting, you got to take copious notes, right? And so for every win, copious, I write it out.
That's an FCAT word, copious.
Oh, it is.
I ain't heard that word in a long time. Copious. Right?
You have to take a lot of notes because I think sometimes you get in a rut and you forget how God delivered you, right? Ooh, and so when I was feeling away, because January is always kind of weird for me. It's like, oh, it's a new year.
Yeah.
I need to you feel so forced to make the dream boards, forced to make the goal sheets and all of that. So before I started stressing out, I went back and looked at my photos of my billboard. I said, oh, I did pretty well last year. So I had to remind myself of how God elevated me before. And I was like, wow, that's the same God that did that. That's the same girl that did that. So if they work together again in 2022, it could be even bigger.
If they work together again.
And so I think for me, I'm fearless, right? But I do also embrace my fears. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, you're so this. Like, I know you don't be stressed. I'm like, girl, I'm stressed every day. I just learned how to balance my tears and my stress with my art and my wins. So like today I got a cherry Coke because I wanted one. I was like, why am I depriving myself of something? It was a kid size, but I want it. So why am I not getting it? My skin's still doing good. I ain't had a soda in like 3 weeks, but it's things like that. I think so many times we put ourselves in these rigid, like you can't smoke, you can't drink. Like, girl, get you a drink. You're going to go to hell or heaven either way. Like, this ain't going to change that.
This is not the one thing that's about to damn you for all eternity.
And I think, in retrospect, when it comes to manifesting or, worrying about whatever, it's like, there's no magic. Like, if it were really like some magical thing, my dad would still be alive because he was a good person. My grandmother would still be alive because they were good people. But it's not really about being good. All the time, it's about being in alignment. Right.
Ooh, that's a whole word. Take notes.
It's like really like it's almost like ordering a pizza and I put in my address to this house. But why am I at Alicia's house if I ordered a pizza from my house? So you're praying these prayers, but you're moving from the location from where you asked God to move.
You're out of order.
So you're literally not in your location that you asked for God to show up at. And so a lot of times we'll pray and then we move on. But we're not like, oh, I want God to send me a husband. I'm like, girl, ain't no man coming. God is like, well, you ordered a man. You said you ordered a man. So why you keep moving from where the order was? So every time you get out of order saying it's not going to happen, it's not this, you're moving your location from your answered prayer.
You're not staying on the same frequency of what you're asking for. It's all about the vibration.
You change the radio station. So you're not even hearing from God because you're like, oh, dating in Atlanta sucks.
You're not tuned in.
I'll never find a good man. I'll just have to get back with my ex. So every time you do that, you're moving the dial a little bit, right? Or you're moving the GPS location a little bit. I'm like, I'm preaching these folks. So I asked God for $1 million a year. So every time somebody calls my phone, I'm just as exuberant and excited and ready. So my challenge for the month of January was to paint every day. So I got like 20 or 30 designs sitting and waiting for a call. So if you say, what's your 2 cup, brown and red? Hold on.
I got something for you.
No, don't go. So it's people like, yeah, right. And I was like, look at my laptop. They're like, dang, you really got, I said, I am not playing with God when it comes to what I've asked for. And I think that is the difference maker between me and a lot of they don't answer emails. They don't get on the phone and they're not professional. And I get everybody's not, FAMU PR trained. But if you're really hungry for something, you'll show up with it like it's the best opportunity every single time.
Yeah.
This ain't MTV. I'm not going to do this. So whether it's this podcast or the Breakfast Club or Oprah, I'm going to still show up with so much energy that people are like, who is this girl? Like, we got to give her another mic, And so every opportunity is a interview for your next opportunity. So I'm interviewing for my Oprah opportunity. I'm interviewing to sit down with Michelle Obama. you know, and whoever else the person may be in the future. So that's really how I believe I've been successful, because I treat everything as it's the next biggest thing.
That's awesome.
And with that type energy, people don't understand how you show up to things and the stories you tell yourself. Like, people told me, oh, when you get to Atlanta, like, oh, dating is so trash. I'm like, I don't know this experience.
That's not my confession.
I don't know. I do not subscribe that. I don't subscribe to that. And I have dated some really great folks so far. I thank you all for your service. It is
all 2 weeks
experience.
All 2 weeks since you've been here.
All 2 weeks and 4 days. Thank y'all for y'all service. Listen, I'm so appreciative of how well you guys have treated me and welcomed me into your city. But it's so crazy. This is what I mean. You're gonna for be friends, because I am literally, this is my $1 million year. That is all I see. I have crafted the plan, and I'm super open to whatever the route is. I took 2 months to create that, and it was literally like God, like he was literally flowing from him to me, writing out what it looked like. I finished it literally just yesterday. And in finishing it yesterday, I secured a strategic partnership and then 7 other opportunities to be able to execute on what it is. And I was like, hey, yo, this is literally all within these 2 weeks and 4 days that I've been here in Atlanta. And there's something that happens when you, like you said, get in the location and then stay there. Don't be trying to move all over like, oh, well, maybe if I go here, maybe if I go there. No, maybe if you allow yourself to co-create and then give yourself permission to dream. Like, there are so many people who they stopped dreaming, thinking that it was not possible for them, telling themselves the story and tapping into a narrative that they didn't even like. People literally will tap into narratives that do not work for them and yell those same narratives from the mountaintop. Yeah. So what does it look like, or what has it looked like for you to give yourself permission to dream? Because that could be scary for folks.
Yeah.
It could be scary for folks who aren't in anticipation and that aren't in the receiving position. So, you know, the first thing people do when they climb a mountain usually is they raise their hands up, right? So being on that mountaintop is like, oh, like every time you see somebody in Stone Mountain, they're like, oh, I made it. Like, oh my God. But that receiving position, you have open hands, right? That's why people say to worship, because when you're out constantly praying, your hands are closed. So when it's time to receive that answer,
open hands, open heart, right?
Right. And so that's why they tell you to worship, because it's literally a spiritual symbolism for receiving. So even when I can't pray because I'm like, I don't know what to say, I'm like, Lord, I just thank you. Like every morning, like I'll be on a Peloton and I'll just arbitrarily put my hands up like, Lord, I just thank you that I have a Peloton. I thank you that I have, use of my limb. It's little things that like, and I put up a quote yesterday. When you get in the practice of celebrating little wins, by the time the big ones, it's like, girl, I'm celebrating. Get a parking space at Ross. I'm going to get something to eat. They're like, girl, it's a parking spot. I said, but next week I'll be celebrating signing a deal with Nike. So it's constantly being in the behavior of someone that's open, someone that's grateful. And I was on a call earlier talking about gratitude being one of the greatest down payments on your future.
Hold on, run it.
Take notes, sis. Grab your pen.
Oh my God. Okay. What now, sis? Say what now?
Gratitude is one of your greatest down payments to your future.
Gratitude is one of your greatest down payments to your future. Can I get it on a shirt?
I have merch in the morning. But think about it. It is
wow.
The ability to assess what I have is good enough, who I am is good enough, and whatever to come will be good enough. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just super grateful to be here. Like, even all these, like, oh, you 39. I said, but look at all I have done,
Yeah.
and who's to say it won't, like, Sarah Blakely is my shero for many reasons, but she talks about women after 35, like dying, like, okay, girl, it didn't happen for me. She was like, I met my husband at 36, 37. I have 5 kids under 5 at 45. Like,
listen,
it can happen for you. But on top of that, she didn't let societal norms make her think that after 35, she was an old maid. Or she didn't make people think that because she didn't go the traditional business route that she would not be a billionaire. That the man because I don't know if you heard her story before, but when she met her husband, she was dating someone else. And he got sick, but the secretary was like, I got somebody I want you to meet. She's like, I got a man. I'm not coming to that. So she invited her to an event. And guess who was sitting there? Jesse, her husband. And so her boyfriend at the time was sick and couldn't come. And so she ended up having to sit all night with the guy who she wanted her to meet. And she ended up breaking up with him just shortly after that. But she was like, I knew then why I had to go through everything I went through to sit at that table with that man. And I believe in serendipitous moments like that. I believe in everybody has a unique route to meet their person. I do believe that my gift is going to open up the floor for, and not even romance, it's the right relationships, right? It's bigger than just my husband. It's the godparents for my children. It's the partners for my business. It's the investors in my business. It's the people that will buy my kimonos, all those things. So I just think that when you're on the right path of gratitude, you become a magnet for more.
Yeah. And I feel like that is what humility should be rooted in. A lot of times humility is like people want it to be, if you say you can't say anything about your success, or you have to be quiet and meek and mild and walk around like this and thank you. Like for some reason, like people feel like that's what it means to be humble. It's like when you just don't speak about your success, you don't, you know what I'm saying? And then if you say something about it, that's not confidence, that's arrogance. And it's just like, it's
a balance to it. I think that everybody has a unique subset of people that you're going to be encouraging, but there'll also be people that will just wake up and be jealous overall. And so I'm not big on sharing my numbers. I didn't say I signed I didn't go live. Like I just signed a 6-figure deal with y'all. Just showed up with a billboard. Y'all like, wait a minute, I am a very quiet manifestor when it comes to stuff. By the time I posted it, I've already signed the check and already bought stuff from the money. But everybody has their way of doing it. Like I have counterparts that as soon as the ink is dry, they got it on live. I'm like, well, you just wait till it, wait till the baby come. Like even when I get pregnant, y'all gonna be like, is Melissa pregnant? All her videos are like eyebrows up. I'm like, yeah, God is good. And then I'm gonna just bust out with a whole gold crown, be like, girl, it's twins. You be like, what's here? So I think for me, you have to find your voice as a manifester. I don't believe I'm not of the subsect of the loud ones. I'm not a loud manifester. I bought a house. I've been in for 5 years. It's a gorgeous mini mansion. Nobody's seen it. You'll see parts of it, but I'll never go live from outside. I may show you my garden, but that's it. I'm very strategic about what I share. I take the more Beyonce and Oprah route. I show you what I want you to see, but I let you do the rest of it.
Do you feel like that's kind of how you deal with the pressure of the manifested dream? Because sometimes
I'm just private. I feel like people feel like they're obligated to have all parts of your life when you become a public figure. And I don't owe you that. I don't owe you a bounce check. I don't owe you a miscarriage. I don't owe you a failed relationship. I don't owe you my credit not being great. I don't owe you all of that. I owe you what God has told me to talk about, and that's his artwork. And that's it. I don't owe you my production team. Like I had people say, well, who does your stuff? I was like, I don't owe you that. I don't owe you who's doing my place. I don't owe you all of my steps. I owe you what I feel like I'm going to give. And so I give so much already that I become another person when people press my boundaries. Even when I said no to y'all, I didn't dislike y'all. I was like, I don't want to do that right now. I just said, people take offense when you say no, like the nerve of her and God been so. I don't want to do that right now, and I don't have to.
And then when you come around, they're like, "Oh, now you wanna," and it's just like, no.
And so, people have done that to me, and I was like, you know what? I respect somebody that can say no and won't say yes just to make me feel. And that's just like in relationships.
Yeah,
pressures you into something. It won't be as good as me like coming in and wanting to give it to you versus you like, come on, I want to take it. Versus I want to give you this. You know what I mean? So those kind of even encounters with a man, it's a different level of exploring that happens versus when somebody just like, here, just take it. You smoking a cigarette like you done,
You done, did you finish?
And that comes, I was listening to I listen to podcasts every day, but I listened to a podcast this morning and it's Zig Ziglar, I think that's his name. He talks about this lady who hated her job. She said, my job is terrible. I need you to give me some tips about getting a better job. He said, well, why you hate your job? He was like, before you say that, tell me why you like it. I mean, they pay me this. And he's like, he came up with 21 reasons why she liked her job. He said, so do me a favor. After you say the good things about your job, say, I like my job. I love my job. So she did that for 21 days. And so the next time he met her, she said, the job has just got so much better. Like they come invite lunch. Then he said that was the energy you were giving off. You were getting it back.
Yep.
Into work every day saying you hated it, you were getting that kind of energy back. And so I look at that with life. If I find the silver lining, even in the smallest, I remember I got into a car accident. I was like, well, God, I'm going to get a rental. I love me a rental car, So you find even when my dad passed away, I made it into a whole thing. I mean, I'm still devastated from it, but I said, okay, God, now we got to go. Now I've faced one of my greatest fears. Now I can live, now I can push through. Now I can, carry on the legacy. And then when I was frustrated about not being married, I said, oh, God wants the Mitchell name to be attached to a billboard. God wants the Mitchell name to be attached to artwork. So when I do get my next last name, like, what's your last name, Mitchell? It's like, yeah, you my daughter. Yep. And so Mike's daughter, Sharon's daughter, is on a billboard, not someone.
Yeah. Hello.
I'll be attached to now. I mean, I'll still be their daughter, but then my next title will be somebody mama and somebody wife. It won't be Melissa Mitchell alone. And so when I started to switch some of the feelings that I had towards my path, I think my path became a little bit clearer.
Whew, listen, this interview is so good. It's the gems for me.
Right? Just dropping, just falling, pouring from the sky.
Yeah.
It's so crazy too, because like as an artist, no matter what type of artist that you are, we could be a little sensitive about our ish.
Yeah.
So how did you build the confidence to put it out there? Because you are so authentic, you are so rooted in who you are. And when you're a trailblazer, that authenticity and that being rooted and that being focused, sometimes it comes with stuff. It comes with major sensitivities, especially too as a Taurus. We get real like, bro, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
So how have you built up your confidence to put it out there? Like I said, I know you're painting every day. Like what is that like for you? How'd you build up that confidence?
Well, when you look at your creations as legacy, you just have a different assignment. Like for me, it's almost like being in class and everybody was given a packet. This is my packet. Like I don't have the same, goals and aspirations that most artists do. And so for me, it's making sure that the Mitchell name lives on, make sure that Melissa Mitchell leaves an indention in the earth. And also I say that my paintings are my prayers. And so it makes me handle my creations a little bit differently. I can't be mad if it's a prayer. I can't be mad if it came from God. And so when you look at it like that, it's like, oh, well, this what came out when I picked up the brush. This is what God gave me that I couldn't put into words. And so I think people rock with authenticity. And of course they rock with the art, but it's the energy. I dropped off some people's pieces last week. He was like, bruh, like my whole house is lit up. I said, because it's part of my story. This is part of my legacy. This isn't just some stuff I'm doing to pay my light bill. I'm creating from a place of authenticity versus a place of survival. Because I think a lot of artists are painting for bills. They're painting, out of depression. I'm no longer in that space. I shifted that mindset a long time ago. And so once I started just creating out of just pureness, the paintings just took on a new light and a new life. And so that, to me, I just can't worry about what nobody else doing, because this is what I've been given. This is my packet from the teacher.
Your eyes on the test. You keeping your eyes on the test. I like that.
You copying her, and she working on physics, and you got Black history. What are you doing looking at her? That's A and B is totally different on her page. You're like, oh shoot, I thought we had a test. Nope, you don't.
No.
So now you're gonna fail.
It's a different one. Sorry.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah.
Wow. That's so true. I didn't even think about it like that. And it's almost as it sounds to what I hear you saying is like you realize that you're the vessel for it. So you're not going to take it personal when somebody may critique or dislike or have something negative to say about the work that you are doing for God. Like it has nothing. You're not taking it like, oh, this is a representation of me and I'm poor. Like it's not. Yeah.
Of course, there are rooms to get better technically, right? Like I'm learning how to paint more. I'm using better paint. Like that painting I did in 2016-ish. This is 2020. So even the level in the, the having the confidence of the brush, because like it's heavier paint. Even the lines are different. Just things just evolve over time. And I can look at it like I did that in like the year 20. I can see the evolution of even my confidence in the brush. And so some has more paint, some has less paint, some has better paint. And it's just saying, I could get better. I can get technically better, but my voice, I'm going to trust that. But how good or bad, I'll allow time to kind of make me better at that. So I think a lot of times you have to be open for suggestions, because you may get an expert that takes you to the next level. Like, you should use this. And that one tip can make you the $1 billion artist that you're trying to become, versus being so, nope, this is me, I'm perfect. Like, it's always room for improvement, whether you're a better mother, a better business owner. I just received I'm a recipient of, it's called the Black Fashion Accelerator Program with Afropunk and Shopify. So I had to bring over like 900 products, all my customers, over 5,000 customers, all these orders. I'm like, why do I have to do this? He said, once you get on this platform, you can see six figures a month. I'm like, okay, so what all I need to do? But I had to be open to suggestions to become better, and not think that where I am is good enough. Because if you want to be a millionaire, billionaire, there's something you're doing that has you not at that point yet, right? Yeah. But let me see. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Now, what all y'all talking about?
It's the smallest thing, like the smallest tweak can make the world of a difference.
So be a constant student of life. I think that's important. Above being an artist, but just a good human, learning how to study your spouse. Like I was talking to my boo, he was saying, I studied the female anatomy to know how to make things click. Like if you're having a bad day, if you hit this right nerve, you'll immediately calm down. Or if you know a person's love language, coming in with a thing of flowers may not be my thing, but he brought me paint. I'm like, oh my God, you brought me some paint. Yeah, I noticed you were low on the neon, so he brought me all new neons. So it's like learning how to deal with people on the level that they're at, versus trying to be like, oh, I know I'm gonna cook you a meal. If I'm on keto, if I'm on a Daniel's fast, why are you making me food I can't eat?
Listen, you providing for a need that this ain't the one.
This ain't a need. It's your need. Like me baking cookies is cool, but like I don't even like chocolate. So
and then people don't realize that. They think it's so simple because they're like, oh, I'm showing up, or oh, I'm doing for you, but you're actually making me feel like you don't see me and you don't hear me, which is the most basic essential need that we have as humans. So if you're buying me flowers and flowers aggravate my allergies, then it's like, okay, you're not paying attention. You're not hearing me. Yeah, that's not it. It's not it. You do have to definitely meet people where they are, for sure.
Yeah. So I think, back to your original question, I just think when you're present, when you're grateful, when you're open, when you're honest with yourself, it shows up in your work. And I think that is what people feel, because even when I go to some galleries, I see people cry. I'm like, I wonder what they're thinking. It's like the energy. They can't. I think because art is so left up to personal, especially abstract art, it can be left up to a person's interpretation. So if you don't pour authentic feelings into something, people are like, girl, next, it's just colorful. I mean, a child could do that. I could do that too. So if somebody were to try to replicate this, I could tell a copy from mine because it ain't no energy in it. Like, yeah, it's cute in the colors, but it ain't me.
Ooh,
and that's just like when an ex tries to find somebody just like you. It's like, cool, she brown skin, she do the little halo braid, but she ain't me. And she don't have
it's like you got a recipe, but you ain't got the flavor.
So that fine line between being cocky and humble, you gotta stay on that fence, because it's like, don't play with me. I ain't gonna be nasty, but I can if you want me to.
I ain't killer, but don't test me.
No, really. I think that's the true balancing act of the climb of the celebrity, the climb of the popularity, but also authenticity. So it's like, you don't want to be too nasty, but you don't want people to think they can play with you. So it's like that. Don't play.
It's like gentle but firm. It's like a very delicate balance. It's really hard. But when we talked a little bit about you working with some of these mainstream brands and major brands, and I'm just assuming, I don't know, but I know a lot of other people that work with mainstream brands talk a lot about the pressure to kind of conform or to sell out or to not really be able to stay true to who they are. Being at the level that you're at, I'm going to assume that you've maybe come across that. How do you feel like you've been able to kind of deal and maintain your identity while working with big brands? Obviously being authentic, but maybe just go a little bit deeper as to how that really happens, because a lot of people say that they lose themselves when they're trying to kind of climb the ladder to that success and popularity and millions of dollars.
I think for me, I always go back to they obviously chose me for a reason, right?
Ooh,
And so
hello.
if I start becoming more like you and less like me, then I'm not really showing up for the reason why I got chosen. And so I try to remain the same because you found me because you like my art. You found me because you like my voice. So if I start talking about things that are not mine, like in the past 10 years, you're like, that don't sound like you. Like, who is this girl? And so I think for me, I'm very clear about what I will and won't do. I'm not going to do art that doesn't align with me spiritually. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to align with a company that I don't like. So before I even get into the conversation, I'm not going to even let it get far. It's like almost dating a guy who's totally not your type. Like he's got a pass. You don't Google this man. You're like, why are you going on a date with a man that you know ain't your type? Like, why even go? Right.
Right.
So before I even get to the point of signing contracts and being in this relationship with the company, I've already vetted them. I already prayed about it. I already gotten confirmation. I've already had a dream about it. And the money is right. The situation is right. But I have not had to come down on my ethics or morals for anything that I've done. And I can say that confidently, blessed to do that. But you have not seen a lot that I've turned down. So the ones that I've turned down, I felt like, yeah, this ain't gonna really go the way I want. This interview, I don't really like the people. Like I've turned down a lot because I feel like it's not gonna. Again, this stuff lasts forever. Even if the internet shuts down, it's still gonna be that sound bite that will remain your legacy. Like they'll always remember. Did she say she hates so and so people? It's like y'all didn't even listen to the interview. You know?
Right.
So I think for me, it's just making sure that I do attach myself to brands that I'll be proud to say that I was a part of, you know, seeing what Coach has done, seeing what Now Later is doing. I mean, Cadillac, Ford, I have relationships with the teams. Like even when they leave the company, it's like, girl, I'm calling to check on you. I'm like, hey, boo, you know. So I develop real-time relationships with these companies and the employees. And so that's how I keep getting all these deals because a lot of my friends higher up, they move to other brands and they're like, I loved working with you so much that I'm now going to take you with me to another brand. And so it's relationships. Success is all about the right relationships. Because y'all may hang up, you be like, you know what, Melissa need to do this. I got a friend, you know what, she need to design this for my friend. And then now that's another 6-figure, 7-figure deal that I wasn't even looking for because I'm a good person. I do good work and I have good ethics. You would feel confident saying I could attach my name to her because she does good work, but she's a good human. I think if you focus on being a good human, people will want to see you win. Like I want to see Melissa win so bad that I'm a personally send her application. She didn't apply for this grant. I'm gonna apply for it and see what happened. Like I've had people do that. I'm like, how did I get? She's like, girl, I put your name in. Don't worry about it. I was like, thank you. And then now I'm having a meeting with XYZ. You know, so
that's incredible. And we don't see enough of that and we don't hear that enough that's a path. Like that's typically the path less chosen and less traveled. And it's like, that is a path though. You can be a great person and elevate. It's like, oh no, you got to step on people. You got to screw people over. You got to be a dog. You got to be this. You got to be all these bad things.
It's enough money for everybody. And here's what I say, even though I'm not a millionaire yet, the opportunities, like I'll walk into a store and the only Gucci shoes that I want, this happened recently, regular $1,000 shoe was like $200 or $300. Only one pair left in a 7. They said, well, where are these shoes from? I was like, I guess they're just for me. So the millions I don't have, God makes up in favor.
Oh, hello.
So like,
rich in favor. Oh, that need to go on the shirt too.
Yeah, so that's why I don't worry about money as much as I used to. I'm like, if I don't get any money, God will make it work somewhere else. So opportunities, like I don't have like $1 billion publicist. It's me and my sister Googling and emailing folks. Like I have a huge interview that comes out next week. And my sister's like, how the hell we pull this off? I was like, girl, God good, you know? But because when you have an authentic story, I go back to that, people want to see you win. Like Tabitha Brown, love her to death. Her meteoric rise has just been so encouraging, but it took 17 to 20 years to get to these wins we're just seeing. Like she moved blind face, she lost her mom, you know, things that happen behind the scenes that we don't even know about. But people are like, girl, she just blowing up. No, she put so many seeds in the ground. She is literally an oak tree now. But we didn't see all the years where the roots were growing. And so now that her harvest is so big, but she is a good person. I mean, she's genuinely what you see on TV or whatever, that's exactly who she is. And so this is the time for people like that to win. This is the time for genuine hearts to win. This is the time for people that have just done good things, you know, just to win. And again, I'm not walking around here like, girl, another one, this. I'm like, y'all, it's possible. People are like, well, dang, you just working hard. I said, y'all, this stuff happened last year. I'm just posting about it. Like the Foot Locker thing I posted yesterday. That's been in the works for months. I just saw the footage yesterday with y'all. That was like, dang, this my stuff, But seeds in the ground will surprise you when it's time for manifesting. Like, wow, I guess I did. Like, I have friends that I paid their mortgage. I've helped their kids go to school, and I don't even talk, like, I don't publicly talk about it. So when I have wins like that, it's not because I did that for them. They may never repay me, but God saw it.
Yeah.
Watch this. So I have like this bank in heaven that has just had all these deposits. And so the withdrawals are so big because I planted it just blindly. Like, I don't care what's on here.
Right. The intention, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, like I said, this conversation, I'm so full. I'm just like,
when we start leaning in, we're like, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's so good. And we truly have been blessed with some of the best souls on this side of heaven who have like come on this podcast and just like graced us with not just their presence, but with their brilliance, with their authenticity, with just their wisdom. And I don't take that lightly. And so I'm sitting here just listening. And before we started, people told us, oh, it's difficult to grow a podcast. You can't do it unless you got this amount of money to invest in this, that, and the third. I'm like, we maybe spent $100. Maybe not even really on like boosting a couple posts, but the growth has been so expansive because of genuine conversations with people like you. And so what it all leads back to for us is I understand statistics, but I also understand, because I have an MBA, so I get it. I understand statistics more than many. I'm a super analytical person. However, I also believe that just because that is what the story was for one doesn't mean it's the story for others.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what I want to know is, because there is a shifting of the guards, there is an entire paradigm shift that is happening. And those who were underrepresented, like Black artists, things are shifting and churning and changing. So what are some of the other ways that communities can support Black art besides just buying it and telling someone, like, are there other ways? Like, what does that look like? What does it look like to feed back into the artists so that nobody feels like they have to be the starving artist, although I subscribe.
Just going back to your original portion about, the changing of the guards, my morning mantra is I am the exception to every rule. And that includes every statistic, that includes every study, that includes every rule, anything that's like, Black women statistically, because even when it comes to having children after 35, that's a child. I hear all of that, but I'm having a set of twins. My husband gonna be fine. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I hear all of that. And so when it comes to what the book says, I was like, but have you read the other book? If folk having babies at 99 in the Bible, I ain't gonna wait that long. I don't think that we should pigeonhole ourselves to what statistics, right? Because statistics are never 100%. It's always 99, 90.
There's always a variable, always.
0.5.322. Okay. That's me. And so when it comes to art, I'm the same way. I'll be the 0.2262, 5555. I'll be all of those numbers because it's always somebody that slips in and changes up the median. That changes.
Yes.
So when it comes to supporting artists, having genuine conversations, learning the artists and not just the art, like the why behind the art. I'm doing a really dope talk next month about why do I paint? I don't think people ever really ask like why. I'm bored, or my wife made me go into this room. Like, there's so many different interesting whys. It's like, Basquiat had a lot of darkness when you read his stuff, and it's like he dealt with a lot of racism. People want to think he's this great artist, but he was crying out for the times. It was almost like Black Lives Matter back when he was a painter. And so we learn how times evolve through artists. One of the history was first found was a small, like, little figurine from an artist. That's how they knew that there was civilization in one area, because they found a piece of art. And so what's so important is that we support artists emotionally, spiritually, financially is great, but it's listening to our live talks. It's coming to, our shows. You may not be able to afford $5,000, but your boss might be able to, sharing our work. Buying the things that you can't afford. Because I know, like for me, I learned that I'll have a mask for $20, but I don't underestimate my consumer. A lot of my consumers don't mind spending a couple $100. So it's having a broad range of ways to support. But of all, just keep us in your prayers. I guess that good prayers. Not everybody don't say the good prayers, but the good prayers. And just, always keeping us in mind for projects. I know a lot of my friends work on D&I committees for a lot of companies. And it's just a matter of submitting my name to a list. Yeah. You just never know. Like just throw Melissa's name in there and it turns into a whole global deal. Like just never knowing how it pan out. And it might be my next big opportunity. I put up today, you're one away. One call, one relationship, one opportunity, one painting, one date. You're one away from whatever it is you're waiting on. So when you look at life one away, every opportunity I'm gonna show, because we don't know who these things end up. We don't know where these podcasts end up. We don't know who's listening that one day. Because we might be on YouTube and somebody may scroll and say, oh, this might be the suggested post. And now we go viral and make somebody else follow their dream. So you're one person away from that opportunity. And so that's just the way I look at life itself, is that making sure that I do pour enough in the earth that one away could change not only my life, but so many people around me.
And on that note,
yes.
It is so nice to meet you. Like, who are you? Like, where have you been? Like,
at his house, home, at home. Yes. At home.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, how can we stay? How can our listeners stay? How can we stay connected with you? What's all the handles, the tags, all the things? How can we
website stuff? Everything.
Yeah. So my website is simple, even though I'm switching it. Let's pray. But it's melissaAmitchell.com, and that's my website. I was going to do ablcreations.com, but everybody got their own unique spelling. So Melissa A. Mitchell is my website, and it has links to my socials, but my Instagram is ABL Creations, and that's ABEILLE Creations. And on Twitter, I'm barely on there, but it's the letter A, the letter B, the letter L Creations on Twitter. Facebook is for my auntie and them, but it's ABL Creations too. And so, yeah. So I'm mostly active on Instagram, and I put out new stuff all the time. And you could join my text group. I send out all kind of cute deals and stuff. And I'm trying to gear up. I got to get this done. But Black History Month is going to be really great. I'm trying to get some pieces out for that. So I think for me, it's just celebrating who I am every day. Yeah. And just preparing for my one opportunity, because we went away.
One away.
Yes.
One away.
We are one away. That is literally, I'm going to take that into my spirit.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I take something into my spirit from almost every interview.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the one that I just take and I carry with me.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. Like I am literally blown away. Y'all know I told y'all I had a date later tonight, and I text them like, hey, yo, we gonna be late. We'll be fine.
Give me a second.
So good.
Yes.
So good. I'm so grateful for you sharing space and sharing energy. Y'all already know, y'all stay connected with me everywhere at Alicia Reese. It's spelled extra special because my mother knew I would be unique. And then stay connected to Triggered AF PC on all the platforms. And Danny, where can we stay connected with you?
And stay connected with me everywhere. I think it's, Facebook with Auntie and them is Danny Foster. And then you go to DannyFosterCoaching.com, and on Instagram it's at Danny Foster Coaching.
I love it. I love
Auntie Nim. Yes.
But Auntie Nim. But Auntie Nim.
Gotta have their own special space.
I mean, they be on that Facebook. I'm talking about 5 a.m. You said, yeah, God told me to send you this. I said, God, or was it a chain email? I know God.
I know. And they don't miss a beat. They don't miss nothing.
I love your hair like this. You changed it? I did. And then posted last week, but yes, I did. Yeah.
Thank you for noticing. I'm grateful.
They all miss. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us. And like I said, showering. She didn't drop gems. She poured them, dropped them, showered us with all the gems. This was incredible. And we thank you all for listening and watching. And I hope this was as filling and inspiring and motivating as it was for me, for all of y'all. If not, it was for me. So thank you. And you guys, will see you next time on Triggered AF, the podcast.
Bye, y'all. Be great.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.